Your Airbnb listing might look great, but if it's missing even one of these 7 things, you're probably losing tens of thousands of dollars every single year.
We've managed dozens of listings in hyper-competitive markets, and these 7 tweaks changed everything.
And the best part, you don't need to spend a single extra dollar. You just need to fix what you already have.
So whether you're launching your first Airbnb or your current one just isn't really performing, this video could change everything for you. So let's get into it.
All right, so let's kick things off where most Airbnb hosts think they're doing just fine, but are secretly leaving thousands of dollars on the table, and that's pricing.
If you're still relying on Airbnb's built-in smart pricing, or worse, you're just setting a flat rate and hoping for the best, we're gonna be honest with you, you are flying blind and making a terrible, terrible mistake.
So step number 1 is to use a dynamic pricing tool. So let's talk about dynamic pricing. We use Price Labs, and I'll tell you why. Price Labs looks at everything Airbnb smart pricing ignores: real-time demand, seasonality, events, and your competitors. And it gives you control instead of just a loose suggestion.
And what really sets Price Labs apart is the level of customization you get. You can set
minimum night stays, last-minute discount strategies, day-of-week pricing differences, rules for filling in tiny gaps between bookings, and a whole lot more. Let me give you an example. We have our Price Lab set up so that if we have a single night available between 2 longer stays, we'll typically add a small discount to the night to increase our chances of getting booked, because we know most people aren't looking to book a 5-bedroom property for one random Tuesday night.
Simple things like this lead to real money we would have lost if we weren't dialing in our pricing rules. Also, just a quick note, we never just set it and forget it. We audit our pricing settings weekly and sometimes even daily and adjust based on what's happening in that local market. Price Labs makes it super easy to do that with their dashboard.
So if you want more bookings and more money from those bookings, a dynamic pricing tool isn't optional, it is required. And because we love Price Labs so much, we convinced them to offer all of our subscribers a pretty sweet deal. So if you use the link in the description of this video, Price Labs will hook you up with a free 30-day trial plus 10% off of your first invoice. So there's no excuse not to at least check them out.
Yeah, shout out to Price Labs. Thank you guys. Step 2 is to offer discounts for longer stays, so like 1 week or more.
Now, this is one of the simplest, but maybe most overlooked pricing plays, but it's offering length of stay discounts. And it seems backwards, right? Like, why discount when you could charge full price? But here's the thing. A longer stay equals fewer turnovers, and fewer turnovers equals higher occupancy, which can lead to more revenue.
A good rule of thumb is offering 10% off for 7 or more nights, 15% off for 14 or more nights, and depending on the season, up to 20% off for 28 plus nights.
But here's the key. Don't go overboard. Offering a 10 to 20% discount can increase your net revenue by keeping your place occupied, but if you go crazy and offer 60% off just to fill it up, you're increasing your occupancy, but probably decreasing your overall revenue.
Yeah, so there's really a tipping point where the discount eats up your margin. Find your line and just stay right below it.
Longer stays are gold for your calendar, right? Fewer expenses, fewer gaps, and higher revenue potential. So you combine this with dynamic pricing and your revenue per calendar day goes way up.
All right, so those are your first 2 money-saving, revenue-boosting moves. Most hosts either don't know these exist or just don't even use them correctly.
But if you get them dialed in, your pricing stops being guesswork and starts becoming a profit system.
Now, stick with us until the end of this video because in step 7, we will show you how to squeeze profit from the days most hosts write off completely.
But next, let's move on to step 3, which is how to make sure your listing actually gets found in search. Because the best pricing in the world doesn't matter if no one's seeing it.
For sure. All right, so let's say you've nailed your pricing strategy, okay? You're using dynamic pricing, you've got longer stay discounts dialed in, but you're still just not getting those bookings.
If that's happening, it usually means people just aren't finding your Airbnb listing. And that brings us to our next 2 steps: how to make sure your Airbnb is actually visible in search.
All right, so step number 3 is optimizing your listing titles.
So yeah, let's talk about your title, because if your title just says cozy 2-bedroom home, or worse, just the word apartment, no one's clicking that.
When guests scroll through Airbnb, they make a decision in literally 2 seconds, the photo and the title. If your title doesn't tell them what's special, they're over it.
So here's our go-to formula for the title of your Airbnb. It's amenity plus location plus hook. So instead of cozy 2-bedroom home, try something like, and these are actual listings we found, epic views, 15 minutes from Disney, hot tub, theater, arcade. Or ultimate private water park and pool next to Disneyland. Or cinema, sauna, 5,000 square foot luxe chalet sleeps 20.
But you see what they did there? These aren't just descriptions. They're like mini sale pitches almost. I literally wouldn't be able to choose between those three you read.
So once you've got a working title, you want to continue to iterate. Test a new title every 30, 60 days, test different angles, and you might be surprised what gets more clicks.
Yeah. Even changing near downtown to walk to bars can increase more bookings, believe it or not.
And remember, Airbnb's algorithm favors listings with higher click-through rates. So optimizing your title, that's your first impression, so you got to make it count.
Okay, step number 4 is listing on multiple platforms.
Yeah, Airbnb doesn't own the entire short-term rental market. So if you're only listed on Airbnb, you're missing out on guests who might prefer Vrbo or Booking.com.
So go do that today. List on those additional platforms if you're not already.
And if you're using a property management system or channel manager like Hospitable or Guesty, you can also push your listings to Google Vacation Rentals, right? Yeah. That's like free traffic, so don't sleep on that either.
Yeah, it takes a little to set up, but we only get about 60% of our bookings from Airbnb, so don't sleep on those other platforms.
Now, one quick warning, if you do this, make sure your calendars sync properly. Double bookings lead to really angry guests and bad reviews, and we're saying that from firsthand experience because we had to cancel a bunch of summer reservations when we first got started because we didn't do it the right way.
So get a tool that manages that for you. It's 1000% worth it.
If you're only on Airbnb, you're missing 40% of the market. So spread out, diversify. Let the platforms compete to bring you guests.
So that's visibility in a nutshell. Fix your title, get on more platforms, and let the algorithm do the heavy lifting for you. Because you can't book guests who never see your listing in the first place.
All right, next up, let's talk about how to convert those eyeballs into actual bookings. But before we keep moving, we wanted to thank today's sponsor, which is Relay. Relay is such an important part of our Airbnb business and really like all of our businesses for that matter. One of the mistakes we made early on in growing our Airbnb business was not having the right business banking platform to run all of our money through. And believe it or not, choosing the wrong banking platform can cause you tons of headaches and extra work.
We had issues paying our cleaners and handymen because Venmo and Zelle have caps, if you didn't know, on how much money you can send every week. And with all of our properties, we just kept hitting those caps over and over. So our cleaners would need to be paid and we'd have to say, I'm so sorry, can you wait until next week? Which nobody likes.
Nobody wants to hear that. The other downside with Venmo was that it made bookkeeping harder. Every time we sent a payment, we'd have to take a screenshot of the Venmo transaction, email the screenshot to our bookkeeper. It was just a
so
mess,
extra.
Right? Yeah, we weren't perfect with that process, so I felt like we were always digging through our Venmo transactions, trying to remember why we sent $47 to random person 6 months ago.
But with Relay, you can add all of your vendors as payees to your account. So from there, Relay allows you to send same-day ACH payments to anyone. So it pretty much just works like Venmo does.
So whoever you want to pay is send a secure link where they can enter their payment details, and then you're able to send them a payment. You can also add a little note to every payment. So when our bookkeeper pulls all of our transactions at the end of the month, she's able to see the reason for every single payment that we made.
Another reason that we love using Relay, they recently rolled out the ability to set up auto transfer rules. We've got an entire video on how we manage cash flow within our business, so I'll link to that in the description below.
But as a quick run through, we have multiple accounts for each property and several accounts at like the business level. Each property has 2 accounts. One account is for the operating expenses where all the money flows in, all the expenses flow out. And then each property also has a reserve account. This is the account where we just stash money away for a rainy day.
And at a business level, we have a profit hold account, a tax hold account, and a team members pay account.
And then every month on the 10th and the 25th, we transfer money from the operating expense account and we fill up the other accounts. So we, might leave 50% of the cash we have in the OPEX account, put 5% into reserves, and the rest is split between those other accounts.
But the reason that Relay is truly so powerful is that it allows you to automatically complete these transfers. All you have to do is tell Relay what percentages you want to allocate across all of your accounts. And every month on whatever dates you choose, it'll automatically run those transfers.
This may not seem like a big deal at first glance, but trust me, it is super time consuming to manually complete all of those transfers, and to be able to set it up once and then see it run every month on autopilot is truly amazing.
The last reason Relay is such an amazing business banking platform is their support. It's crazy, but other business banking platforms only offer email or chat support, which is so annoying. But Relay, you can literally pick up the phone and talk to a real human. It's some of the best customer service that we've gotten in a long time. Customer service just is like really crappy nowadays, don't you think?
I think so, yeah. And the best part, Relay is offering all of our subscribers a $100 bonus when you open and fund an account with them. So head to the link in the description of this video and get set up with Relay today. All right, so let's get back into optimizing your bookings. Let's say your listing is showing up in search, people are clicking, you're getting views, but they're not actually booking.
This is where most Airbnb hosts drop the ball, conversion. And if your listing isn't converting, all that visibility doesn't matter. So let's talk about how to turn more of those views into actual legit bookings.
So step number 5 is to optimize your photo gallery. The very first photo guests see is your cover photo, and it matters more than people think. We always lead with what we call a scroll stopper, right? That's the hot tub, it's the fire pit with the string lights, it's the pool with the water slide, the mountain view, just whatever immediately grabs the attention of the viewers.
Then when they click into your listing, the photos need to really flow. They shouldn't feel like just a random dump of every picture your photographer took. That's so annoying. Your first 5 photos should always highlight the best parts of your Airbnb. And then from there, it should flow like an actual tour.
So start at the front door, then show the living space, the kitchen, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the outdoor areas. The right photo order builds trust, and trust gets you booked.
Next, and this is a growing trend, but consider using lifestyle photos. So this is where your photos show actual people using your property. So your photographer is going to bring models with them to pretend that they're like truly guests enjoying your place.
And these types of photos help potential guests imagine themselves experiencing your place too, right? Not just staying there.
Yeah.
And also here's, I guess, one more quick photo hack, right? That a lot of people ignore, but it's your captions. You can add a short caption under each image, and you can kind of use the captions to highlight features that may not be super obvious in the photo. Like, for example, memory foam mattresses in both bedrooms, or filtered water plus dual coffee options, or smart TV with all streaming services included. But we, by the way, do not include streaming services. So
Yeah, log into your own,
yeah, log
buddy.
into your own is what we say.
Small things like this give you an edge when someone is comparing 3 or 4 similar properties. So the goal isn't just pretty photos. The goal is to truly tell a story that makes someone want to book and feel like this is the house I want to hang out in.
Now, step number 6 is to turn on Instant Book and use a more flexible cancellation policy. Airbnb's search algorithm rewards listings that use Instant Book. It helps guests book faster, and Airbnb likes that. More importantly, guests like it too.
Think about how you shop. If you had to message the seller every time before buying something on Amazon, you'd bounce immediately. Guests feel the same way.
Now, yes, some hosts worry about Instant Book attracting bad guests, and that's fair, but you actually can protect yourself by setting booking requirements like needing a government-issued photo ID, requiring they have positive reviews from past hosts, or maybe setting a certain number of minimum nights.
And if someone doesn't meet your criteria, you can always cancel penalty-free if you feel uncomfortable. So Instant Book is not as risky as some people think.
Next is your cancellation policy. Airbnb hasn't shared much about their algorithm, but they have clearly stated they prefer listings with more flexible cancellation policies. It removes friction, guests feel more confident booking when they know they can change plans if needed, and you still have protection with your cutoff windows.
If you're seeing a lot of page views but very few bookings, check 2 things immediately. Are you using Instant Book? And is your cancellation policy scaring people away?
Just switching over to a less strict cancellation policy could be the boost your listing needs. It's one of the lowest effort, highest impact changes you can make to boost conversions.
And when you combine a strong photo gallery with frictionless booking policies, your listing becomes easier to trust and just easier to book. And that's the goal, right? So far, we've optimized your pricing, your discoverability, and your listing page itself.
But now it's time to go a little bit deeper, because even with all of that dialed in, there's still money being lost, and it has everything to do with your calendar.
All right, we've covered how to price your property, how to show up in a search, and how to convert browsers into bookings. But now it's time to talk about something that silently drains money from your calendar. That's gap nights.
Those 1 or 2 night spaces between bookings, they look small, but they're costing you big, and most hosts completely ignore them. So step number 7 is utilizing gap night messaging. So what exactly is a gap night? It's when you have a short hole in your calendar, maybe a 1 night gap between a Monday checkout and a Tuesday check-in. too short for your usual minimum stay and just awkward enough to kind of stay there and sit empty.
And here's the thing, those gaps add up over the course of a year. We're talking hundreds, even thousands of dollars that are left on the table. That's where automated gap night messaging comes in.
We use our PMS tools, Hospitable and Guesty, that detect these short gaps and then automatically send messages to guests who are already staying with us.
So something like and your booking.
We've had tons of guests say yes to that offer, and it's easier for them to stay put, and it means no new turnover for us. And the best part is those extra nights are often pure profit. I mean, you've already paid for the cleaning, you've already covered your fixed costs, so even a discounted night is better than a $0 gap.
For sure. You can also use this strategy before a guest even checks in. If they're arriving on a Friday and let's say you have Thursday open, trigger an auto message, want to check in early for 15% off?
We've had guests extend their stays on both ends of a trip, and when you automate it, it runs in the background while you sleep.
For sure.
So don't overlook this. These little calendar gaps are hidden revenue leaks, and once you plug them, you're not just optimizing your listing, you're maximizing every square inch of your calendar.
So now you've got the full playbook. 7 high impact strategies across pricing, visibility, conversions, and calendar optimization, all designed to help stop leaving money on the table and start getting the bookings your Airbnb actually deserves.
Now, here's the thing. Watching this video isn't going to change your business. Implementing what you just learned will. So here's your next step, or here's our challenge to you. Pick just one of these 7 strategies and implement them today. Not next week, not when things slow down, but today. Now, again, if you like what you heard in this video and you really want to take your Airbnb business to the next level, book a free call with our team to learn more about our Airbnb coaching program called Alpha Host Academy. Guys, we've helped tons of folks through Alpha Host Academy, and we are so confident we can help you that we offer a guarantee. If we don't help you buy an Airbnb, you get our program for free, or we'll keep working with you until you do. So if you want to learn more about our program, book a call with our team using the link in the description of this video.
And before we go, please connect with us on Instagram. I'm at Sarah Brad Robinson, and this is my sexy husband at Tony J. Robinson.
And if you're on TikTok, follow us at The Real Estate Robinsons. But that's it for today, guys. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
the Real Estate Robinsons.